afternoon. Happy every day, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy every day, everyone.
Why are you detaining me? You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Oh my goodness. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. You about to.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hey, what's good, people? Good to see y'all back at it, man. Welcome to another week. Welcome to another edition. Monday, starting off the week off strong, man. Monday, welcome back to the world. You're now tuned in to Let's Go Live with Lamont King. Let's go. Hopefully you're tuning in right now, either on Facebook, on my page, or on YouTube, on my channel. We crunched some numbers. We tried to do it. We had a little campaign, a little push last week. Try to get the numbers up, subscribers up on the channel. Try to get 1,000 new subscribers. Well, no, I'm sorry. Get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the weekend. And people, guess what? Thanks to you, we didn't make it. We didn't make it. So we still pushing this week. Trying to get to 1,000. We need that. All right. It's a situation and a scenario at hand. Y'all not taking it seriously. You're not taking it seriously. All I need you to do is just subscribe. I don't even like begging and doing all those weird videos and pointing, hit the button and the notification. But just do it, though. Just do it. If you're watching and you enjoy the show, we're here each and every Monday through Thursday. The time is now. This is our soft launch. This is our third week. Monday through Thursday, soft launch, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're trying to work out the kinks, see what the best time of day is. I know a lot of y'all got jobs and fake side gigs, and appreciate it, Bruce. Fake side gigs and all of that. And I'm back to work now, and now I commute. I don't know if I can watch the show. So we're trying to cater to everybody at the same time, with the understanding that we're not going to be able to please everybody, but we're trying to figure out the best time. But the only way I can know that is if I know the people watching. I got some people calling me today. They like, yo, let's talk that money. Talking that money talk. They be like, what your views is like, though? I'm like, They like, we love your show. We got to get your views up. I'm like, nah. So that's where you come in. All right. So this right here, I hope your weekend was well. I hope you're safe and sound. I hope you and your family are well. Appreciate you for tuning in. Today's going to move by pretty fast. There's a lot of, in case you missed it, a lot of things happened over the weekend. A lot of things happened today. So we're going to talk about it. And I would love your involvement. We're going to open up the phone line a little. Open up the phone line a little later. The line. So I can take that call. Caller, you say what? All right, so here's the big reveal. So on your screen right about now, if you're paying attention, is a notification for you to go and download. This is what I need. Again, we're soft launch. This is our third week. Just getting in rhythm. But we will be careful. I don't know if you paid attention a couple weeks ago. There was an announcement made by Frank Holder from Human Mill Magazine, who has an app. And the app is very, very powerful. They've been up for a while. They're on Apple Music. They're on Comcast. And his app and his channel is going to be in the very near future carrying this program. All right. So while you're subscribing at the same time, go ahead and download this app. It's called the Humor Mill. It's live. It's the number one source. I'm going to walk you through it. This is how interactive we're getting right here. I'm gonna walk you through it because a lot of y'all play games, and I ain't for the gameplay. All right, so let's look here. There we go. Let me stop that. It's the IG and the Twitter right there on the screen. It's the Humor Mill app. Kind of like Rumor Mill, but different. Rhymes with, sounds like. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna walk y'all through it. A lot of y'all play games. I don't know. I just the computer. It's not my computer. Oh, power surge. It's not my computer. We're gonna talk about that power surge too. All right, here we go. So this is what it would look like if you were to follow instructions real quick, and if you were to go to the page that I asked you to go to and download the app. So I'm gonna walk you through it. We're gonna do it together. So here's Human Mill Splash, Subsplash Inc. Lifestyle. All right. So it's number one source. Your number one source for comedy and news entertainment. They've been up for like 15 years. The app is new. They're on Comcast. They're on a lot of different platforms. Good brother Frank Holder, who's behind the magazine, who I used to do a lot of street reporting work for back in the day. He's going to carry the show. So there is going to come a time. Let me. I got to see your face. Let's go back. Y'all got to see me. Let's try this again. There's going to come a time. We're streaming right now on Facebook and YouTube. There's going to come a time where I will not be able to stream on Facebook and YouTube. Right? I need the numbers up on YouTube, but Facebook is going to come a time for one reason or another. It could be Zuckerberg, could be me. It could be the fact that they don't let you run ads during your video. Could be that, and I want to get paid too. So there's gonna come a time. So I need you to download. Let's go back. I need you to download this app. Right? Walk you through it. Download this app. It's very simple. It's not complicated. It don't have a few bytes. Let's install it. And I'm doing it on my computer, so you can do it on your phone. Choose the device. Will they let me choose the device? All right. Well, I'll do that one. Let's go. Let's start it. Okay, that's too much. There's a lot going on right here, but you know what I'm talking about. That's too much. Yeah, I'm looking at my passwords and all that. You know what I'm saying. Just download the app, and he's going to carry the shows. That way you can watch it on demand anytime you want. Light went down like it was a power surge. Anytime you want, and that's what it is. All right, so we're gonna do that. Again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's very helpful. Hold on, I'm just navigating. I'm doing I'm multitasking, if you will. All right, we back here. So yeah, here we go. There we go. Appreciate it. Got some more. What's good, Big Doug? What's good with ya? All right, good to see y'all. Jackie Boyd, Tara, Bruce Perry. Hey Bruce, I would love to have you come on, man, and we can talk about your line of work if you still in that line of work, and if you're comfortable enough to have an open rap about that. Let's get it. Let me know, and I'll pull you right in. Other than that, what's going on? News of the day. So much going on today. So I want to talk about Juneteenth. We're gonna talk about this later in the show too. So just get your mind ready. Juneteenth. I saw somebody mention, should it be a it's time, it's long overdue for a federal holiday, Juneteenth. And my we on Karen Hunter show on this past Friday, we talked about it. And I had of course I got my opinion about Juneteenth, but I gotta be honest, and I'm trying to save this discussion to so we get some more people on and we got some more interactive involvement. But should it be? Do you think Juneteenth should be a federal holiday? I guess that's the question. I'll pose that question. Do you think Juneteenth should be a federal holiday? Why not just write it? I'm gonna write it for y'all. Do you think Juneteenth? Do you think Juneteenth should be a federal holiday? Be the question. I'll let you know my opinion very shortly on what that is. Federal holiday. Question mark. Also, we are completely viewer supported. We appreciate your fund. All the new partners that joined on with us yesterday. Last week, and all I asked for was $1 show. But if you donated, I appreciate it. If you didn't or you couldn't, wasn't in your capacity to, I appreciate you just for tuning in. If you can't donate, everybody has a role in this movement, man. If you can't donate, just go ahead and share the page. Let people know that you're watching the joint right now. But it's just a cool show. every day, blah, blah, blah. And then go to YouTube if you missed it and then watch the replay. So that's what that is. So the scroll at the bottom is where the Cash App is. Just $1. That's all I need. 12 people give me $1. 20 people give me $1. And we good to go. We good to go. So Juneteenth, federal holiday. That's the question for today. That's what we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Let me get through some of Kevin Hughes says nope. We're not there yet, Kevin. He says nope and provided no context or reason or rationale. All right. So a couple things I wanted to move through. So here's some highlights. And what we do on the show, when we get on the humor mill, the show started, Let's Go Live started during the pandemic. And it also started during the civil unrest and national uprising. So it's been this should be a lighthearted, upbeat show. But over the last 2 weeks, if you've been tuning in, you know that it's been a little difficult to try to do that, to try to be funny. Because ain't shit funny right now. But I guarantee you, we'll loosen up as a country and as a people, we'll loosen up. So when we get on Humor Mill, it's gonna be a lot of different angles to this show. You definitely still enjoy it, but news of the day, highlights, interviews, surprise guests, uninvited guests. I'm gonna let people call in and I'm gonna hang up on them. It's gonna be all we're gonna be all over the place, but it's gonna be something to tune into. But most recently though, these highlights, like even Monday, even today, right? I had a whole thing planned at the end of last week, and then Friday happened, which was the police killing of another black man in Atlanta, Rayshard. I want to say his last name wrong. I think it's Brooks. I ain't had a story yet because I've been watching it all week and kind of overwhelmed. Yeah. So if you've been under the rock and you're not familiar with that, it happened again. Basically, it went a little differently than the last few. There are a lot more variables to this story. But I've been seeing a lot of discussion online with people defending both sides, and the whole Just Comply crowd and Stop Resisting crowd was in full swing this weekend. And then there were, even on the other side, he should have been able to go home, but if he handled it wrong. And I saw that one. That's the one I kept seeing from black people. He handled it wrong. And meanwhile, I'm watching tons of videos, scores of videos, dozens of videos where white people are handling it more wrong, and still get to go home. So take this with you while you're having these conversations and these discussions. First of all, acknowledge that you have been conditioned and brainwashed and socialized for the duration of your lifetime, and that shapes your opinions. So let me throw this at you, and while you're arguing these points on whether or not he deserved his fate or whether it was even expected to go that way. Think about this. You can assault a police officer. You can attack a police officer. You can flee from police. You can resist arrest. You can flee an unlawful detention. You can flee a lawful detention. You can fight cops. You can shoot at cops with their taser that you stole from them and still not get the death penalty. Okay? I want you to remember that. Those you just comply and resist an arrest crowd, none of those are capital offenses. None of them. So there is no justification. So sorry. Get that out your head, unlearn that. It's just we've all been conditioned to accept it, but it's not true. It's not the case. All right, so we're not, that I just wanted to touch on that. That's what ruined my weekend. And so I was watching a special on CNN last night, and they were showing, this was weird. This was super weird. I don't know if you caught this. But the anchor was like, all right, we coming up next, we're going to break down from 6 different angles and have a former law enforcement official break down from 6 different angles what happened in the shooting of Rayshard, right? So they did that, and it was every angle. And it's one guy who was a former police chief, one guy was a forensic crime scene investigator, the other guy was a shooting expert, and they all were saying what could have happened and what should have happened, They kept showing the video, the front, the back, and now look at the Wendy's angle, and then now look at the body cam. Now look at the cell phone angle. And they went from his perspective, and then officer's POV, and then bystander's POV, and then Wendy's security cam. They kept going back and forth. It was like a 10-minute, 15-minute segment. And watch this. Now watch here as he falls to the ground. Da da da. Right? Tracking. The story immediately after was watch as these heroic officers and bystanders, some other state, I didn't even dial into where it was, pull a man from a car that was on fire because it was in an accident. She looked dead into the camera after this 10-minute segment of watching 6 angles of the Atlanta police killing, and looked right into the camera and said, "We have to warn you. Some of these images you see may be disturbing." And I was like, wow, you did a whole disclaimer to show somebody being rescued from a burning car that survived, but gave no such disclaimer to the Rashard killing video that you show 6 different angles of, 3 different points of view. Not she never said it, not once. And I started to tape it. Y'all know how like we do the thing called watching TV with Lamont. I started to tape it on my phone, but I was slow to the draw. So I didn't catch it fast. And then I was going to rewind it and tape it and still show y'all. But I was so flabbergasted. I had to lean forward. You know how you do the lean forward when you sit in your bed? You like, wow. I was like, you did a whole disclaimer to show them pulling somebody. And he wasn't even burnt up. I mean, I'm sure he got burned, but it wasn't even, it was like, the footage was like, get him out of the car, get him out of the car. And they pulled him, and he was like, you okay? Oh, man. Warning, these images maybe. See, that this is, okay, I told you first story, second story, right? The second story is part of the problem. How she approached that second story is part of the problem to our conditioning. We're desensitized to seeing the destruction of Black bodies completely, to a point where it does not disturb you when you see it because they show it all the time. You're not going to see repeat angles of white folks getting killed in the street. You're not, because what is that going to do? That's going to completely desensitize you. Once you're desensitized, you're kind of indifferent. You won't see it. So anyway, just thought that was, like I said, my whole weekend was kind of, I was ready to come back on some funny. You know what I mean? We talked about also on Karen Hunter's show on Friday. I'm on their show every Friday, every Friday, 3 to 6 Eastern time. We also talked about sports and how my theory that the reason why these protests are as big as they are is because there are no sports, professional or competitive. No sports to take your kids to, no sports to watch, no sports to be a part of. It's just completely wiped off the face of the earth for the first time in ever. I challenge you to do the research. It's part of my theory. I'm gonna work on my thesis. Might even present it as a dissertation. First time in ever. There has never not been the existence of sports that you could either compete in or watch. Period. And I think that had a lot to do with this current shift, this paradigm shift in this movement. Perfect storm, if you will. But anyway, so we was talking about that, and then Kyrie Irving comes out. I don't know if you peeped this in case you missed it. Really kind of questioning him as well as some other players are questioning the return, the leagues wanting to return to, get it going again. And he really took issue with it. And allegedly some insiders have leaked the fact that there was a conference call with over 100 players, 12 to 15 players on each team. So that's at least what? 7 to 8 teams out of 32. Is 32 teams in basketball, or is that football? And Chip Dust has some chips. So yeah, so there's a conversation on the table about whether or not the players are banding together to say, hey man, we're not coming back this early. And that would be such a momentous, strong power move because the players have the leverage right now. And obviously the rest of America wants to get sports back because we can't do anything without sports. And these 3 months have been hell on us. We haven't been able to survive with Negroes not entertaining us. And because that's the American way. And it's almost kind of the thing that you wish would have happened in the NFL when Kaepernick first got it popping the first and the second year. With people like Malcolm Jenkins and Eric Reed being the voices after Kaepernick was blackballed. Kind of wish what you would have happened if all the players had banded together and been like, "Well, we're just not playing." And I can't judge what somebody else's mind space and mindset, but I think this season right here, this last 3 months, has presented the players with a unique opportunity, combined the pandemic, combined with the police shooting, killings, and the uprising, to be like, hey man, we actually do have the power, man, and ain't nobody gonna rush us to get back without addressing these issues that are on the table right now. I'm not in a hurry to get back, and everybody should band together and solidarity and in the interest of solidarity, come together and be like, yo, we not playing. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, let's go to some headlines real quick. I don't know if you've been reading the paper or digital whatever today. New York Times. This is a headline. New York Times. The New York Times is saying that according to one civil rights organization, there are over 1,000 hate groups that are active in the U.S. right now. 1,000 hate groups that are active in the U.S. right now. That's a lot of hate. That's a hell of a lot of hate. That's a heap of hate. That is hella hate. 1,000 groups. They didn't mention. Well, I didn't get to that point in the article, which civil rights organization did this study or what they based their research on. But that just as a headline, that's 1,000. My question is, how do we know that it's only 1,000? And what makes a group? Is that where two or more are joined in hate? Then they have a group. Is that a thing, or is it got to be that they hold meetings? But that's a lot of hate. That's just that right there. And when you look at Michael Simpson said they include Black Muslim organizations in that number. I can believe that. Which is unfortunate and shady. Which is super unfortunate. But that's a lot of hate though. Because even if they include the Black Muslims, the New Black Panther Party, or whatever other organizations, Black Lives Matter, whatever, that's still 997 more that's hateful than a son bitch. That's a lot of hate. And speaking of hate, tell your white friends who are having issues with these protests or whatever, and your Black friends who are pleading their case, please stop killing us. Hey man, all that begging, can we knock that off? I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Can we knock that off? All that begging to be for somebody to recognize you as human, like that just that's a little hack to me. That's a little played out. I feel like we passed that. That's one thing that gets on my nerves when I see those signs. Please stop killing us. You begging somebody that hates you to acknowledge you as a human, who already doesn't think that you're human. That I feel like that argument we ain't gonna win. So you all it's asking and pleading, they don't hold your humanity in a back pocket to give to you. It ain't theirs to give. So yeah, there's that. Next headline. I thought this was interesting too. Indianapolis, their city council. Shout out to all my people in Indy. Their city council declares racism a public health crisis. Yeah, a public health. Imagine that. Public health crisis, meaning like this is an issue of public health. It's amazing how this week and last week, everybody is really like realizing bias and discrimination and racism. Like they haven't been told every day for the last every 110 years. Like, get out of here. This is it's a public, yes, it's a public health crisis. We live with that. Most of us live with that trauma daily, and there's no fix for it. There's no treatment. We just have to either self-medicate or self-therapute, if that's a word. Therapute. Can you therapute? The verb tense of therapy. We either have to self-therapute or self-medicate, or self-medicate by self-theraputing. A public health crisis. Are they going to? So how do you? So now that that's happened, so what's next? How does that work? Is that a thing where is there pills for that? Can you get a prescription now that it's a public health crisis? Are they throwing money at it? You know, like the opioid, the crack epidemic, but the opioid crisis. Now that racism is a public health crisis, is there going to be money in the cure? Is there programs? Can I start an organization that deals with racism as a public health crisis and get government money? Like, now what? I need somebody smarter than me jump on here and tell me what's going to come of that. In other news, abcnews.com is reporting, and I'm getting, these are all from sources, so you can Google them and dig in and unpack on your own time. ABC News Treasury Chief Mnuchin is refusing to disclose recipients of the virus aid. So that headline, if you saw it, they're talking about the money that was supposed to go out to small businesses. We all know that a lot of small businesses didn't get selected for it. We also know that a lot of big businesses got it and weren't supposed to. And so there's a complete list of who got it and who didn't. And the man with the plan, Treasury Chief, ain't trying to let y'all know who got it. So you know what that means? They paid their peoples, man. This is the system that we all accept. This right here is the one that we accept. Watch the news, we complain, we change the channel. That's it. Oh man, that's crazy. And then we go on about our life. But this is what they're doing. They gave billions, millions and billions of dollars to companies that A, didn't need it, two, B, A, didn't need it, two, didn't need it. I'm sorry. A, didn't need it, two, didn't deserve it, and three, was on the team. So there's that. Supreme Court today had a big landmark ruling that included yes, Michael Sampson says, didn't the Lakers get it and then returned it? They returned, I think Ruth's Chris Steakhouse got exposed, some other companies got exposed, but there's a whole list of other ones that did not get exposed, one, and two didn't get it returned, because we won't know and they won't tell us. Kevin, you can now be covered for having PTSD from racism. Maybe in Indianapolis. Now that would be a thing. That would be a thing. You can go get treatment for that. That would be interesting. So anyway, the landmark Supreme Court ruling today was to the LGBTQ community. To make sure I'm saying it right, because I don't need the emails. Well, I'm not that famous yet anyway, but LGBTQ community. Whereas they're saying that Section 4, I believe, of one of the constitutional amendments that protected workplace discrimination based on sex can and will now include gender identity, I believe, and covers transgender. So that particular act, let me walk you through it. That particular amendment had covered workplace discrimination, saying you cannot be hired or fired on the basis of your sex. I think what happened today was interpreting further that now that law protects people who, gender, non-gender, non-binary, gender, transgender, and it basically saying you cannot be hired or fired based solely on your gender identity. I believe. I tried to read it. I tried to read for understanding. That's what I got from it. Basically, you're protected by the Constitution, and you can't be fired for being gay, or can't be fired for being a man who identifies as a woman. or you can't be fired for being a woman who identifies as a man, or you can't be fired for being a transgender at work. And then here's the thing: I thought that was the case already. I didn't know that you could before that. So that was kind of weird. Not weird. I'm just like for that to be a landmark rule. I thought that was the case already. Like, how do you prove that? How do you prove that? If you and also the other side of that is, how do you prove if there's a company that got rid of you and you're non-binary, you identify as a they, and they fired you because you're a shitty employee? How do you make the different? And then you go to human resources and be like, they fired me because I don't, I don't identify with their pronouns, and I had a problem with their pronouns. They're misgendering me, right? And you go to HR and push it up the chain, and they're like, no, we fired you because you're a shitty employee. Like, who's the person that's now in charge of making that distinction? And or how do you prove that that's why they fired you? So that I was like, well, what they were talking about, a big victory is trending on Twitter, 600,000 tweets already. They was like, it's a big victory for the LGBTQ community. And I was like, I wanted to understand how. So if somebody in that community could let me know, explain it to me and learn me on that, so I can talk different. So yeah, because I thought you couldn't be fired for that anyway. But here's even the more interesting part about that. So along with that ruling, which coincidentally happened during Pride Month, along with that ruling, where they were scheduled to hear other cases that they chose not to hear. So two of those were gun reform, gun rights, and the other one was qualified immunity. So the Supreme Court of the United States chose not to hear cases arguing the relevance of qualified immunity, which protects police officers against judgments and where they in cases of excessive force or where they commit murder and they're protected. The Supreme Court chose not to hear those cases today because for no other reason other than they did not want to. But the landmark ruling during Pride Month in support of LGBTQ, when we have a current civil unrest, a nationwide uprising that pertains specifically to police brutality and victims' rights, but they like, nah, we good on that. Oh, okay. All right. Cool story. That's a cool story, Supreme Court. I hear you. All right, let's see. Gianni says it's going to be tough, but HR has to stay on top of all observation and do them consistently and with fidelity. Good luck with that. Kevin Hughes says paperwork. That's going to be the key. The trail of written warnings that led up to your firing. That's going to be a key. But who's to say? But I can even argue, all right, if you misgendering me, and you always talking slick, and I say something slick back to you, and you always writing me up, I can just go to HR or I can go to, sue you and say, you were always writing me up because of gender bias. We'll see. These are going to be some interesting court cases that come out of this, I believe. Let's see. Dr. J says managers need to ensure their work performance feedback is honest and they keep telling their employees they are horrible regardless of gender. Use that paper trail to prove why they fired a person. All right, everybody's on the same page. You're all smart people. You're all brilliant. Hopefully that'll work. But yeah, it was odd how the Supreme Court chose not to even tackle that issue today, one versus the other, even though the qualified immunity is a national discussion right now. And please, my LBGTQ friends and family, all of you, listen. I support and admire your fight. I'm fighting a personal fight right now. You have to respect my Black Lives Matter fight. You have to respect my inability to multitask. I'm not good at it, so you have to respect that. Don't be mad at me when I choose my fight. So yes, I've been seeing a lot of slander and slick talk, from there would be no Black Lives Matter movement without the fight for sexual equality and gender equality and all of that and LGBTQ equality rights. And I'm like, that's not all the way true, but I'll leave that at that. So there's that. All right, here's a little article I wanted to show you. This was on the same page as we're talking about qualified immunity. I thought this was interesting too. We're just gonna go right to it. I want you to hear what this story, interesting story about police misconduct and these payouts of these law enforcement agencies all across the country over the last 15, 20 years, and who actually has to pay the money and how much money been paid out. That's where the defund the police argument comes in, because let's say police beat my head in, bust my head, and I sue them, and we find out that I was right and they was wrong, and the judge say, all right, you get this much in compensatory damages and blah, blah, blah. Who paying that money? That's taxpayers. So taxpayers are paying your salary to whoop my ass, and then when I go to take you to court and prove that you was wrong for whooping my ass after I paid your salary, taxpayers are still paying for the payout for me getting my ass whooped. It don't make sense, man. It don't make sense, man. Hold on. All right, here we go. Let's watch this.
New York is answering the growing calls for police reform following the deadly arrest of George. New York is answering the growing calls for police reform following the deadly arrest of George Floyd. On Friday, Governor Andrew Cuomo signed a package of accountability laws. They include a ban on police chokeholds and legislation to allow the release of officers' long withheld disciplinary records. The change comes after the revelation that one of the fired Minneapolis officers had been accused of misconduct 17 times before Floyd's death. But the allegations of excessive force went far beyond just one officer and resulted in millions of dollars in settlements. Jeff Begase has that part of the story.
In 2012, Zach King was leaving a Minneapolis nightclub when he was stopped by the police. He had a handgun that he was legally permitted to carry.
He's like, hey, what's that bulge on your waist? I show him my hands, hey, I have a conceal and carry, and that's my gun, my weapon. And like 6 officers just came from out of everywhere. They got their knee on me like almost like George Floyd. I couldn't breathe.
King was hospitalized with a concussion, his face swollen with cuts and bruises.
I didn't do anything to anybody, and I was violated.
King sued the department, which argued he didn't tell them he had a gun permit until later. He got a $122,000 settlement. Ultimately, who's paying the tab for those settlements?
Residents of the city of Minneapolis. We've seen similar culture of abuse in other large cities across the country.
Since 2003, Minneapolis has paid out $45 million in settlements. This year alone, Los Angeles has paid more than $6 million in settlements. Chicago, more than $14 million. New York, since 2015, more than $1 billion. Zach King says it was Officer Joshua Stewart who led the assault against him. Since the incident, a CBS News investigation found 9 more misconduct complaints have been made against him, none resulting in discipline. What do you make of that?
It's pitiful. It's ridiculous.
The Minneapolis Police Department told CBS News that previous conduct and nature of current offense are factors that can be figured into discipline. King says not all police are bad. His little brother is a cop. They just need to be held accountable.
If you sit back and watch a bad cop do bad stuff, you're a bad cop too.
Minneapolis PD, still rebuilding its reputation after George Floyd's death, tell us that in the Zach King case, the officer at the center of the case is still on the job. And if Derek Chauvin is convicted in connection with the death of George Floyd, he could still be eligible to receive a pension that's worth more than $1 million.
Yeah.
For CBS This Morning Saturday, Jeff Begase.
Dang.
Right.
That's crazy. I think this is what we're talking about. You could still, be involved in a situation where you're in the wrong, a court finds you in the wrong, and they have to pay out to a victim, and you still are eligible for the $1 million pension. That's what they talking about with police reform and defund the police, man. It's attacking, just getting at them unions, that pension and qualified immunity. That's the issue. If you think it's anything other than that, you need to wake your ass up. 43 million in 17 years. 43 million. Man, they tripping. I want to go back to something though. I want to see if I can play this again. I want to go back.
Passing a new one.
I cannot.
Happened between the.
I wanted to go back to the interview of Jeff Gates because he hit that reporter voice. Then what do you think would happen? He hit that. I was like, my man, what is you doing? Anyway, 1 billion. That's New York. Yeah, New York. That's New York. All right, Bruce says, I can tell you that no police department in Maryland teaches or allows chokehold. Whatever, that's good for them. Good for them, because I swear, in a lot of places, it's a part of the training. And even if it ain't a part of the training, it's acceptable and it's used. And it's funny that you said that, Bruce, because there's every jurisdiction, I would imagine, has different type of techniques, if you will, and protocols. And I wonder if from a regional standpoint, that it needs to be more uniform, or if that's even at all possible for law enforcement departments, precincts, regions, by state to state, county to county, municipality to municipality, whatever, can be a little more uniform. Sure, they teach the general techniques and trainings, but I guess it couldn't be uniform, because what would be acceptable to use in the hood may not be necessary or acceptable in a rural area. But it should be the same. It should be the same. The state controls the policies and the rules. Interesting. And again, that's another, that in and of itself is something that needs to be taken a hard look at. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Enough with the seriousness for right now. Cut a couple more stories, then we're gonna jump into the Juneteenth conversation. Trump said, this is according to Reuters, your president says that he will not watch football, NFL, US soccer, football or US soccer, so football and football, if the players in any of those leagues kneels in this upcoming season, if they have it. He said he's not going to watch it. And I'm like, wow, okay. President going to join the boycott. Look at that. Look at Kaepernick right there. He's going to join the boycott. I know Papa John is not going to be pleased at that. He's not going to be pleased. All right, this portion of the show is brought to you by is sponsor right here. Hold on. Here we go. This portion of the show. This is Throwback Thursday. Because we all waiting for we know Power. The series, the Star Series, 50 Cent series went off, but Powerless is coming back. So I just wanted to go back to season 1, episode 1, where it all began. Oh! Hey, good morning. I'm a technician. We're in the area checking power in the homes, and we just wanted to come in and see if you had any issues with your power.
Power. Yes.
They say this is a big rich town.
Like this way.
I just come from the poet's part.
So how long has the power been out?
Power is truth. Truth is power. Without truth, I have no power.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're doing some construction, so we just wanted to make sure everybody's utilities were still on.
Who sent you, Tasha?
No, actually, my supervisor was right across the street. He told me to go door to door.
This about Lobos? Reese? Greg Knox?
Yeah, no, I don't really know none of those people, man. I just here to do a job. You know what? Here's your problem right here. You got a cable unplugged.
Angela.
Hey, man, to be honest, I don't know none of those people you talking about. I'm just here to do a job. That's crazy. Got me out here. Yeah.
What's wrong with your hair? Are you wearing a wire?
I ain't wearing no wire, man. I just ain't had time to go to the hairdresser.
The hairdresser. Keisha, is she safe?
Man, Keisha? Who is Keisha? Hey, look, man, I don't know no Keisha, I don't know no Lobos, I don't know no Tasha. I bet you think you Ghost, don't you? You're not Ghost.
You're right. I'm not Ghost. I'm James St. Patrick.
They say this is a big rich town.
And why you got on gloves in the house? Hey, man, I'm
I
hot.
just come from the poet's part. Bright light, city life, I gotta make it. This is where it goes down.
Hey, man, go get a Snickers or something. Sit your silly ass down. All right. Brought to you in part by Powerless Season 2. So yeah, there's that. Appreciate y'all for hanging out, man. Let's go live. Let's go every day, Monday through Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. Soft launch. Make sure some of y'all haven't seen that before. Make sure you download the Humor Mill app. We're gonna be broadcasting very, very soon on the Humor Mill app, which is available on Apple Music, Comcast. So get the app, because once we go off Facebook and YouTube, it's gonna be a whole different situation. So it's gonna be a big deal. You can say you was here first. Also, my Cash App at the bottom, viewer support entirely. $1 a day. That's all I need. Everybody give up $1. It's all good. It's a tax write-off too. All right, Juneteenth. Let's talk about it. Juneteenth. Let me give you the little history backstory, because there's a lot of talk about Juneteenth right now, where the discussion happened today about should Juneteenth be a federal holiday, and here's why. I guess with everything's going on right now, we're trying to push everything black through, while we got this little window of time open, while they're going for everything, and that's understandable. That's understandable. So in case you don't know, under Lincoln, Congress approved the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862 to take effect on January 1st, 1863. The Civil War was still going for the next 2 years, did not end until May 1865. At the end of the war, they dispatched a general, Major General Gordon Granger, to the District of Texas. That was to be his new assignment. That was his new duty station. And his first duty on his duty station was to announce to the black slave population on June 19th, a month after the war ended, that they were free, and they had been free since 1863. So the word took 2 years, for a number of reasons, to reach the slave population in Texas, who then subsequently started celebrating and honoring that date as a unofficial holiday for the next forever, called it Juneteenth, June 19th, 1865. Fast forward to 1994, Jason's Lyric was the first time I had ever heard of Juneteenth, because it was in the movie, and that's when they went to the Juneteenth celebration, and was at the carnival. Never heard of it before, never celebrated. Fast forward to about 10 years ago, when social media started really blossoming, and people was getting real woke. Then they would, every year it was a discussion. Then fast forward to about 5 years ago, when people really like moving away from Kwanzaa, but still want to do black things, do hood rat things with their friends, was still, then Juneteenth became we do Juneteenth every year. We celebrate Juneteenth every year. And I gotta be honest, man. And I said this on Karen's show last week. Never made it a celebration. So in DC, right? So I was born and raised in Prince George County, Maryland. Right next door in DC, they have Emancipation Day, where people, just government offices is closed and schools is out. And that was new to me when I started, when I took an actual day job in the District of Columbia a few years ago. And they was like, yeah, Emancipation Day. You ain't grew up on that? I was like, no, we did not. I was like, okay, so people was, we got the emancipation celebration going. So now with the Juneteenth discussion being a national discussion, because we all learning more, and all of our white friends and family are woke now, and a lot of our Black friends and family who were never woke are now super woke. So Juneteenth is a discussion, and discussion today was, should it be a federal holiday, given everything that's going on right now as either tribute or honor or observance. And here's my take on it. Let me get some of y'all comments. Jason said, we as Black people should spend no money on Juneteenth. Kevin says, they have a crawdad festival out here in Iselton. That was the first time I heard of it back in the 90s. Let me see. He also says, these white people seem to be appearing like they want to give us a few inches. I don't want to go and try to take a proverbial foot and turn them off and give them a reason to. No. We ask whatever we want, we should be able to get right now. So here's my answer. Sure. Why not? No, literally. Why the hell not? 4th of July? I don't know. I came from a weird household. 4th of July was not a big deal. So why not Juneteenth? Why not? It's a defining moment in Texas history. And since Texas is its own republic anyway, why not focus in and dial in on something that we all can claim? Why not? Ain't no reason why we shouldn't. There's no reason why we couldn't or shouldn't. And it forces you to really peel back the layers of the onion on why it took 2 years for that word to get out there. If we was really about dismantling the institution of slavery, but it took 2 years to get that word out there. That sounds like compound interest to me. Like, you trying to get last little bit of work that you can, stack that money. Now, granted, when the war ended, they immediately dispatched the Major General Gordon Granger, and it took him a month to get out there and read the proclamation to the people. Hear ye, Black citizens, enslaved citizens of Texas. The District of Texas is what they called it. The District of I did my research, I'm not bluffing. The District of Texas, you are now free. But 2 years though, that's worth a holiday. I think after what we're seeing now in the streets, man, and this unrest and this upheaval, man, a holiday for anything. We need a Rosewood holiday. We need a Tulsa joint, even though Tulsa and that day of matched up, lined up with each other. Tulsa Federal, Black Wall Street. Man, what else? March on Washington, the anniversary. That should be a day off every year. We see it. There's a couple days a month, every month that we should just get. If you asking, you talking about reparations and all that. If you asking, no more income tax, no more property tax, and Juneteenth. We'll take it. Absolutely, Kevin. I will have no problem with that. I will have no problem with that. I mean, we were force-fed American holidays to a point where we think about this, and you're going to get offended, and I don't care. We were force-fed American holidays to the point where we really think that we're a part of it. We really think we're a part of it. And many of you are just now seeing that they had no intention of you being a part of it. But they force-fed us, conditioned us, socialized us. I saw a meme the other day that I thought was so apropos. And it was like, it was making fun of Nancy Pelosi and the Kente squad, Kente West and them. We're in the Kente class last week, and it was like, if you think they look silly, imagine how silly you look in the Stars and Stripes. And I was like, wow, that's hard. That's hard. But why not? Why not some Montana? Hey man, Buford. Hey man, take the day off. It's a federal holiday. Or what for? Oh man, 2 years later, after the Civil War ended and Lincoln freed the slaves, man, it took them 2 years to get that message out to Texas. So the slaves didn't even know that they was free, and they were still working for 2 years. Take the day off, Buford. Buflight. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So that's where I'm at with it. So I open up the phone line right now. I want to hear your opinion on whether or not you think Juneteenth should be a federal holiday. And give me your reasons why you think so, or why not. And I don't hear, why they won't make it. I'm talking about, I want to hear your reasons why or why not you think it should be a federal holiday. Don't get all pontificating and all that wow stuff. So yeah, so there we go. Also download the Human Mill app while I'm waiting for one call. Download the Human Mill app. It's on your for all devices, Google Play, Apple Store. So that when we get this show popping on the official hard launch, you can be with it. You be with the situation and know that your dollar that you support, viewer supported, that you send to me during or Cash App that is going to is super funded. It's a good cause, and that cause is the B cause. Because so there's that. All right, if nobody's calling, I'm gonna keep it moving. Juneteenth, I support it. It should be a holiday. Why not? We ain't gonna trip if it is. And I'm always ahead of the curve on discussion. So y'all see people probably talking about that next week anyway. And you can say you heard it here first, just like the sports situation. I said when sports comes back, it's gonna be a wrap for all this protesting. So get in what we need to get in now. We got a small window. Ask for the shit now, because after a minute, all it's gonna be going. When sports come back, it's gonna be a wrap. So ask for what you want now. Go to your boss and be. I'm not really feeling in a good mental space right now, boss, and just with everything going on. And I don't know, this atmosphere around here is a little challenging. It's a little tense. You, Scott, Tim, and the other guys, I don't know. Sometimes I can't gauge which way you're coming at me. Giving me all this work. I'm the only black guy in the office. I don't know, man. Like right now is the only time you can get away with that shit for the next little bit. Once sports come back, is a wrap. All right, so we'd like to, as I come to the end, also stop by Hamlin Legal. Oh yeah, I gotta do this commercial real quick. Check out my man Hamlin Legal Law Firm real quick for all your legal needs. Where we at? Hold on. So yeah, my man, one of Baltimore. If you're in the Baltimore, Maryland area, one of the finest attorneys out there. My man is super official. In the areas of civil litigation, criminal defense, arts and entertainment law. We're gonna have him on soon for our Against the Law segment. Just want to show you some of his victories real quick, because I thought this was his whole operation is super on point, super dope. But we're gonna go ahead. Criminal victories right here. We got some serious payouts, some serious situations. So if you're in the Baltimore area and you got some issues and you need legal representation, go ahead, check my man Derek Hamlin out at Hamlin Legal. So there's that. And as always, we close the show, as most times, we hear from an elder. It's time to hear from an elder, man. Our closing words for the day in our segment called Hi Dad.
Happy every day. This is Alpha Papa with today's thoughts. This Friday, June 19th, 2020, is Juneteenth, a date so noted as the date that slaves, our ancestors, received the news of the Emancipation Proclamation. We's free now, are we? It also marks the 99th anniversary of the destruction of Wall Street, the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The entire section of the city that blacks had a thriving economy was destroyed. There's no exact numbers to this date as to how many blacks were killed during this so-called race riot. There is currently a group of people that are trying to locate the mass graves in and around Tulsa. Take some time this week and read about the events of our story, not his story. Peace and blessings to all. Alpha Papas. I don't know.
All right, there you have it. A word from an elder in our Hi Dad segment, closing out the show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate everybody that subscribed to the YouTube page, that donated to Cash App, that downloaded Humor Mill. Tell somebody that or that shared on their page the stream. And we'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune in. We got some special guests lined up this week. We got some interesting topics that we're gonna jump into, and hope to see y'all soon, man. Lord willing.